So, fair game. I owe you. I asked us to re-record this. It's been a hell of a year, and I think we should talk about the people carrying the load. So, welcome to the Load episode. I'm Scott Wayne.
That's a terrible name. Not yours. Yours is a terrible name too. And I'm Ace Callwood, and this is Envoy Recorded Radio.
So let's start with somebody going the extra mile. You have a story from your travels.
Involuntary sponsor of the week is Enterprise National. I still don't know the name of that company.
National Car Rental.
National
something.
Car Rental. Anyway, it's both the entity in Helena, Montana, but also the manager, Austin. So I was in Montana 2 weeks ago. I was in Montana 2 weeks ago. Flew into Helena. Had my lovely 8-hour delay in Denver, and I got a call from an unknown number, and I don't know why I answered it, because it wasn't even like it might be
right.
Enterprise or National or whoever. But I answered it, and it was Austin from National in Helena, and he's like, "Hey, I see you're flying in. I'd imagine you're delayed like everyone else coming through Denver. Are you still going to make it to pick up your car this afternoon?" To which I responded, "I'm on an 8.5-hour layover right now. It'll be late when I get in. I'll get in at like 11. You'll be gone already. I'll just figure it out, get to my hotel, grab the car tomorrow." And he said, "No, I'll be here." And I was like, "You're not open that late. I know this for a fact."
Aww.
He's like, "I'll be there." So I get into Helena at like 11:30 once I've deplaned, etc. And he's sitting there at the desk when I get downstairs with just the key to my car sitting on the desk in front of him. Like nobody else was coming in. It was just me. I was the last one getting a car from him. And I get to him and I was like, "I really appreciate you hanging out." And he's like, "Dude, no problem. Car is running. Heated seats are on. It's out front. I'll see you when you drop it off." And Austin, going above and beyond, hooked it up.
At Helena. I just want to say, though, I saw Helena at National Car Rental, who runs the Austin branch. She was rubbish. All right, so we want to go deep. We want to go deep. But before we do that, we're going to Zeitgeist.
Are you familiar with the nickel standard?
Nope.
So I'm trying to remember.
But shout out to a listener who canceled dinner with us tonight, actually.
Yeah.
He better be listening.
I hope he's
on the
listening.
basis that his daughter swallowed a quarter. She's doing great.
She's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what the
nickel
update to
standard.
that was.
So
The nickel standard. So I was on the internet, as one does, and I saw this woman who posted, like, it was a satirical post, but it was hilarious. She talked about moving over to the nickel standard. So she was like, "Look, I'm going to convert all of my personal wealth into nickels." I was like, okay, this is interesting, because having industrial grade metal is going to be really important when everything goes to shit in a couple years. And so if I convert $1 million, which is like 75% copper,
75% copper, 25% nickel.
Yeah. Which is wild, right? And so she's going to convert into nickels because worst case, she can just melt down all the nickels into metal.
Something that actually has value.
Right. And she's like, "Look, the U.S. government is subsidizing the creation of the nickel. It costs like
the raw metals are worth more.
5.96 cents to make a 5-cent coin." And so she says part arbitrage, part future proofing. And so that's the nickel standard. Is nickels might be worth more, especially if the government outlaws them like they did pennies.
She is ridiculous. Why does she think that is better than me glancing at a picture on my phone that has a Capital One logo that I trust that I have? Yeah. Why would you do that? Why would you?
Yeah. Why?
Have you heard of war nickels?
War nickels?
So between 1942 and 1945, nickels were made of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. And I guess that was because of a nickel shortage that was being used in armaments, which shows her point that they have value. During war, we take the nickel out of nickels.
Who knew? It's the thing I learned today. All right. So the nickel standard, moving over to it.
It was like an ode to nickels, or another way, Nickelodeon.
No. That's two. You're good.
Moving on.
Can we stick with currency for a second?
Yeah.
And so, look, there are some billionaires who are absolutely insufferable. We may talk about some of them later. But there are some billionaires who are just having fun. And I think if you had to choose between being insufferable or having fun, go with the latter. Steve Wozniak.
Oh.
You remember Woz?
The Woz.
The Woz.
Brandon, do you know who Steve Wozniak is? So in the days when Apple was a cool company, Steve Wozniak was this kind of dropout co-founder that was kicked out fairly early on, but made a bunch of money through it. Way more fun than Steve Jobs.
I mean,
that's fair.
I think Wozniak was the responsible adult of the two Steves, and I would imagine he kept Steve Jobs out of quite a bit of trouble. But yeah, co-founded Apple in 75, 76, something like that, with Steve Jobs. So anyway, Steve Wozniak creates his own custom $2 bills.
What?
Yeah. So he legally purchases bills from the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and then he takes them to a private print shop he's in Los Gatos or something, California. Takes them to a local print shop where they modify these bills, which is all legal, having purchased the bill paper itself, to say Woz on them. So it in part just says Woz on his $2 bills. And he spends them. They're legal tender. So partly it's just like him committing to a bit. He gets them put together in sheets, perforated almost like stamps, so he can pull them apart. But some sheets he pulls out like a pair of scissors and cuts the bills out so he can, when he goes to spend them, like just cuts the bills apart in front of the people he's spending these bills with. And they're confused, and he thinks it's hilarious. So he has been stopped by the Secret Service on more than one occasion. There's a line in the article I was reading. He's like, to be clear, you can be arrested, but you won't actually get charged with a crime because it's not a crime. So yeah, he can't print the bills himself, but he can modify the sheets of bills after he gets them, and they get bound into pads, and he adds perforations and his name to them. So he also sells these bills to friends for like $5. And so he's like, look, you're getting $50 worth of bills. You'd be an idiot not to buy it for $5, according to Woz. Which, if you have fuck you money, I think you're not doing it right if you don't just say fuck you every now and then.
Yeah. So
I love it.
There's a buck, a quid, and now a Woz.
I want a sheet of Woz's. There we go.
You know what a Musk would be?
No.
It would be a bag of coins, and then you just go, no, I won't bother. Okay, as we're talking about load and money, electrical load. So in Australia, just a reminder that renewable power doesn't work. We should be burning coal every day. It's much, much more efficient. And it cannot possibly be true that Australia now has so much solar power. Australia really doubled down on not just mass solar power, industrial scale solar power, but also residential solar power, that energy prices are in the negative in the peak generation capacity. So late afternoon, energy prices on the markets are actually at minus figures. And so the Australian government from January will start giving away electricity for free during those hours. So late afternoon, that's the time to pre-program your dishwasher to run your washing machine, do all of those things because of a surplus of renewable power that is being generated.
So I was gonna say that it's not practical, the midday thing when people are at work, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, being able to those who stay home benefit, but also being able to program some of your automated household tasks. I mean, you can turn everything on via an app now.
Yeah.
So you could run your household during the day. I would turn on all my lights just
because
it's how Americans orient to buffets. Because you can, you should. You have to eat all the food. You have to use all your lights when it's free. I think that's responsible.
That silence was me not commenting on Americans at buffets. It is Christmas. Goodwill to all Americans. But seriously, people, the food won't run out.
But it might, though, right? Nope.
Yeah.
Best. All right. Moving on. Do you listen to your news?
Yeah, it's called radio. Envoy recorded radio.
No, this counts, I guess. No, like AI readers. So I know the New York Times and the Journal and the Economist all like have AI read the articles. So if you're like in the gym, I listen to my news in the gym. I'll like put it on, hit play, and I'll like I think I get 65% of the news.
I like monotone. And now that was
Yeah. My qualm. What I find, what I hear is a series of mispronunciations because of, I think it's often punctuation, dashes, ellipses, etc. I think throw off AI when it's reading. But also just some words just doesn't get right. And so if we are listening to AI and things like, I was talking about what will happen by mid-2026. And I said that normally because I'm a human. But the AI read it period, 2026. And it was because there was a hyphen in there. And so it was an awkward thing that like I had to go back and listen to because I was like, I lost the meaning of this in the middle. Yesterday, I was listening to an article. It was talking satirically about a kill switch engineer job posting at OpenAI. And it was basically like,
we hover with the button.
We need somebody to stand here in case this thing gets out of hand.
For itself.
Is
that what it is?
Again, satirical. It's not actually a job opening. But
there is somebody that has that job, right?
I hope so. And I hope it's not Sam Altman.
There's an Eric Schmidt thing about this.
About having a kill switch engineer?
No, like when it gets to a certain point, pull the plug.
Shut it down.
Pull the So
that was kind of the joke. And so AI is reading this article about needing a kill switch engineer. And it has this line, throw a bucket of water. The line is the person will be asked to also throw a bucket of water too, just in case. But it reads it, throw a bucket of water too, just in case. And it was a really awkward reading of the thing. And then the last one, yesterday, again, it was talking about Jimmy Lai being sentenced yesterday morning, or 2 days ago, maybe, in Hong Kong for sedition and treason or something like that, for like supporting democracy. It was a whole thing. Yep. But the article reads Jimmy Lai, and in the subsequent sentence reads Jimmy Lai. And just changes the pronunciation of his last name from one sentence to literally the next sentence. And I would imagine if we are seeing more widespread reading of audiobooks, etc., and the way that parents read to children to help them get a command of the language and help them understand tone and nuance and inflection, if AI is now taking over some of the reading, will we get less deep understanding of nuance, of meaning, of inflection, and will that be reflected in the next generation of students coming up through primary school into secondary? It feels problematic. And will AI get better? Sure, yes, hopefully. In the interim, if we are using AI as a substitute for reading and what the value that reading provides, are we going to be missing out or getting worse? I think we might.
It's you may not notice this, but it's also that Americanization of everything, which is sort of at the heart of AI. It's certainly the Anglo-Saxophonication of that was a good word.
All right, I'll give you that.
But oh god, it's picking up the uplift where every American statement is a question because the uplift to the sentence. So, it is Monday. Yes, it is Monday. Well, it's not actually. It's Tuesday, but and that is going to become endemic because everybody's going to learn from. Again, I want us to go with the majority. I think I think AI should be in an Indian accented English voice. Indian English speakers outnumber every other English speaker combined. The default should be the majority.
I would counter that. In Western society, I had a really long fight with a really good buddy of mine. It was when I was using an AI. I was using an AI scheduling assistant at the time.
You did that forever ago.
It was
you had a
back.
virtual assistant before there was the internet.
It was X.AI, and Amy was the assistant, and I thought it was problematic that they gave a genderless assistant gender and made it a woman. as
Yep.
subservient to anyone who is working, and I think that leans into a stereotype and perpetuates one. And I think similarly, particularly into Western culture, I think it harkens back to some stereotypes about Indians being subservient, and I think it'd be problematic. I would prefer a male voice and accent in that of the person using it, would be my preference, as not to continue to perpetuate stereotypes.
It's interesting,
or ethnicity.
like those defaults, because there's a piece kicking around which is very funny, but it highlights that in science fiction, the default accent is a British accent.
Is it really?
And the way if you like the default is that Star Wars, Star Trek, it's sort of this, which I think is for they're designed for American audiences, right? Which is accessible but different. That's where you go.
The villain's always a Russian accent,
right? But there are these voiceovers where all the British accents in sci-fi are Indian accents, and it's hilarious. But also it calls out exactly what you're talking about, which is like, what are these defaults?
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there. Sorry.
AI.
There
we go.
AI.
All right. What's next? Where do you want to
go? Okay. Let's come over to the deep. Do we have a sting for the deep?
I was thinking just a plunk of a nickel into
nickel soundtrack. So 7.5%. I'm being very specific about this. I'm not saying 5%. I'm not saying 10%. It's becoming apparent to me, and I think probably to you as well, that 7.5% of the population are carrying a huge load. And what I mean by that is they're the responsible grown-ups in the room. Often they're leaders, not exclusively leaders, but if they're leading an organization, they're probably also leading their families. They're also probably leading and coaching, counseling, supporting their friends. Yeah. And as we're heading into the holidays, it is just very visible to me that while the rest of the society is slowing down for that 7.5%, it isn't. Like, they are still in meetings, on planes, running this, and also doing more. I'm not going to get into like my slight pessimism over the holidays. Holidays are great. But I mean, when you take the holiday, and so I thought we'd just have a little bit of thinking time about people who are carrying that load, maybe reflect on some concepts that we've shared over the past year that we love. Not a roundup of the year. I know you don't want to do that, but just, I actually think the holidays, even when you're dealing with the in-laws and the chaos that is the dinner table, you actually do get your email will be non-existent, right? You do actually get some time to think. So I thought we'd do that. But before we get there, I've got a question for you. How are you? How are you?
I'm tired. Like, it's end of the year and I haven't been resting as well as I probably ought to. I definitely haven't been resting as I ought to. So yeah, I'm just like, I am ready to be. I head out to the farm for the holiday, and like, the farm represents doing a whole hell of a lot of nothing.
You got a white denim farm?
White denim farm. I've just renamed my fiance's mom's farm.
Brandon, the backstory to that is that he was out of the farm and he took a picture of himself on his farm in his boots with his white jeans, and he may not have lived it down for a little while.
I don't see what the problem is. The problem with wearing white jeans on the farm is not wearing white jeans. It's people who expect the white jeans don't get dirty. I don't have that problem. I love wearing my white jeans places. It pisses everybody off.
All right.
I don't mind getting them dirty.
Anyway, back to you.
So yeah, heading to the farm. I'm tired. But otherwise, like, everything is stable, which is weird. Everything's stable. I think I'm probably tired from making sure everything is stable.
There's a chance we self-sabotage the business. We're not used to that state of affairs.
Stable. Yeah. How are you?
I'm well rested. I had a great night's sleep last night. I've been sleeping well, been exercising more than I've been exercising pretty well, eating well. Here's a phrase that will make everybody cry. I'm inside tired. Like, I'm inside exhausted. And so, yeah, I'm rested and high energy, and I can project my voice, and I can analyze stuff. And I was on a tough negotiation this morning, so all great. life is good. I feel very grateful compared to the lives that many, many people are living. And yet inside, I'm just like, I'm tired of holding stuff up.
Yeah.
Just Atlassian tired. I don't mean the fucking software company. I mean like Atlas.
Like Atlas. Yeah. Atlas shrugged. You know that, right? He just shrugged.
But then the world fell down.
Yeah. I mean, I
haven't read that book. Have you read that book?
I have.
All right.
Yeah. I read it way too young. I revisited though, and I'll take a slight detour. Ayn Rand is meant to be consumed the way Gary Vaynerchuk or Tim Ferriss is meant to be consumed. What I mean by that is people are like, oh my God, Ayn Rand, she was just raging capitalist, but she died on welfare, penniless, et cetera, et cetera. And Ayn Rand wasn't supposed to be taken at face value 100%. It's a good story with some stuff that like the rampant individualism that she talks about, like that's not how communities or society works. But I mean that in the same way people are like, I read 4-Hour Work Week, and therefore I'm going to do everything and put my email reminder up. They're like, I only look at email for 30 seconds of every 7-hour stretch, and fuck you. And like, yeah, if you take it all the way, Ayn Rand was awful, and it makes you a douchebag. But Atlas Shrugged was fun. It was a fun read. So that's my thing on Ayn
So
Rand.
I can't enjoy, because my peak of the COVID experience was reading the headline that the Ayn Rand Foundation had taken bailout money.
Oh,
But we
yeah.
can't do that.
Heaven forbid.
Actually, on that, let's just give you a little exercise to do over the holidays. If you go to a secondhand bookstore and you see Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, purchase that book. As you're walking down the street, as you come outside, throw it straight in the trash can, because the fewer of those in circulation, the better everybody else will be. It's fucking rubbish. And if people want to listen to the critique, I will set up a webinar to break down how his recommendations are absolutely nonsensical and self-defeating. Okay, so these are the rundowns. Can I throw some up?
Before we get into I do want to make a note, because I think
Yeah.
we make this note every year, and I think we ought to. Like your annual reminder that if you are in the 7.5%, the holidays may not be vacation. It is time away from work. It is not time off. And if we pretend it's time off, then we come back with the expectation of, how are your holidays? Was your break restful? And like, fucking no. The answer is no. You just take the energy from work and you put it into kids who need to go Christmas shopping, or shopping you need to do for people you see once a year and like nunts a year, right? Like all of the energy from work ends up going, and look, there are traditions and things that we love, and like it is a downshift. And then for people who are surrounded by extended family or just like with family, it can be or continue to be work. And so I want to be really thoughtful about giving you permission to say, oh, I wasn't off work. I was just away from my professional job. I was still working. I was still doing things. And coming back from the new year, no, why would I be rested?
Yeah.
It would be like after the end of a work week saying, was your work week restful? Like, fuck you. So like just making space for people to be able to say that. And then a shout out to Suzanne from GBTA.
Suzanne Neufang.
Yeah, Neufang. She takes the first week of the year. I don't know if she still does this. Suzanne, if you're listening, shoot me a text. Disabuse me of this notion otherwise. But yeah, she takes the first week of the year. She's like, look, everybody's pulling up. If they need me, they'll find me the second week. But I did not rest during the holidays. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take my week just to reset. And, I think that's real for those who are carrying that load.
So
That's
here's
real.
the thing. Are you doing that?
Yeah, yes-ish. I think we hit the road the 7th, the 6th or the 7th.
Yeah. All right,
But I was supposed to go down to St. Thomas to see family, hang out with Dad, check in. And that sounds lovely, but similarly, going to the island is not vacation for me.
Yeah.
My family's there,
Yeah.
and it's a visit, but it's not a trip, right?
Yeah.
That distinction's interesting as well. It's a visit, not a trip. So I am, and Dad, if you're listening, I'll call you later because I haven't told you. I'm not coming down to St. Thomas yet. No, I need that time and space to be for a little bit, and so I am resting. I'm not going on the trip I was going to go on.
On the other hand, Brandon and I, and so the first episode of ERR will be with Austin Sr.
You'll get the better Austin out of it.
Yeah.
Austin Jr. is a slacker generally. So.
All right. Okay. So,
All right.
So curriculum, as you're thinking during this family time in this background, I'm going to throw a few your way. I'm going to cover a couple.
Yeah, great.
We haven't talked about this ahead of time. Just talk us through head, heart, hands. When you're talking to people about finding things that.
Yeah. So head, heart, hands is an exercise that was introduced to me by a mentor years and years ago. And it's a Venn diagram. As I explain it, those who are familiar with the concept of ikigai, the Japanese concept of finding one's purpose, this will feel very similar. It will kind of look similar. So if you draw kind of a 3-bucket Venn diagram, label one head, label one heart, label one hands. And head would be the things that you know, the academic foundation of your knowledge, etc. The things that you know, and there are things that you will be highly skilled at intellectually that might go in here even if your degree's not in it. So like my degree's in entrepreneurship, I could put that in head, but like as a mediator, I didn't train formally, but I would put kind of mediation, conflict navigation in my head bucket. And those are just the things you know. Heart will be the things that you're passionate about. So like the things that you give a shit about. It might be your philanthropy or altruism. It might be the things that like bring you awe. And I think Alan and Candace talk about this around purpose as well. The things that you just get excited about. Like that would be heart, the things that fill your heart up. And then hands would be the things that you are tactically or tangibly skilled at, and not necessarily hands-on, but the things you do skills
Stuff
separate from things you know.
Create.
Now you might know things that are also things that you do well, and I would probably put them in both buckets, but the things that you do well would be hands. And those 3 buckets, I mean, looking at the overlaps is interesting, looking at what falls in the middle is interesting, but I think for the 7.5%, what I find is that we are often employed gainfully and in leadership positions based on head and hands, probably an overlap of the two. You know these things and you are skilled at these things, therefore you go lead. And we neglect the heart bucket. It is not a given that head, hands, and heart is where our job is, and it's often 2 of the 3, and it's not heart. And the heart is the thing that like gives us the energy to keep going, to do the thing. So I would encourage you to either figure out how heart fits into where you spend most of your time, figure out how heart fits in to your life elsewhere, especially if you're not thinking about or actively kind of feeding that heart bucket. It will make head and hands significantly harder to do. The second area, like as you get back to work, like if you think about your employees, they are often employed because of head and or hands. If their heart is not being filled up as a leader, it's a good opportunity to suss that out and give them space to go pursue heart, or at least make sure they have time and space outside, because the outside of work is often other work, and heart will get neglected there as well.
So I'm looking at Brandon now because this was basically our conversation this morning, which look, in the ranks of maintaining me as like the worst manager and mentor ever, I could have saved up bloody time. You could have just listened to this podcast.
I probably said it better too. Don't answer that. All right. You've got Island of Don't Give a Shit.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite phrases from the UK, which is somebody's talking about something. And actually, I got this from Darren Schindler. Darren, there is a small chance you're listening to this while probably cutting some dodgy deal somewhere in South London.
There we go.
But Darren would say, "Oh, mate, listen, it's great and all that, but that lives on the island of I don't give a fuck." And I think
I'm saying
that was my best
that.
Jamie Oliver accent.
Oh, that's good.
No, that's how Darren talks, actually, Shins. But I think it's magical. And if you're going to be focused upon a thing, if you're going to care about some things, we can't care about everything. We have to choose our issues. And so if you have trouble saying, I only care about these things, that's kind of tough. Then go the other way and literally draw on a sheet of paper an island and put on that island the things that you're going to choose not to care about.
Yeah.
Choose not to care about.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a good exercise. And now I'm trying to think of something that I don't care about.
No, can I give you a tangible example? I think because it's part like specific things, but I think there's a scope of things, like how much or how widely you care about a thing. So as the pandemic was kicking off, I remember my partner at the time and I got into a blowout because she was like, this is going to be bad for everyone. People are going to lose their jobs. It's going to be hard economically for a host of people. And then she was really upset I didn't care. And I was like, no. My responsibility is to take care of you and me and our immediate families, and that is my singular focus right now. And I think community impact is important, and that's what she did. I was like, you should care about that. You should think about the repercussions of frontline workers who might lose their job, or non-essential workers who might lose their job. That is not where I'll spend my time. But if I'm taking care of us, you can take care of them. And like the island of don't give a shit was very real for me. I didn't articulate it that way, but that comes to mind. It's like, I can't care about everyone in the world. I have to care about me and mine. But that will be a different kind of math or equation.
Yeah, and I think that can be micro and macro too.
Right.
It can be micro in your household, and it can be macro examples of my islands. And it doesn't mean you don't care, but I can't.
I'm not going to focus. Yeah.
There's very little influence I can have over housing affordability, right? Mm-hmm. There's very little influence I can have over SNAP benefits and Medicaid policy. We can have some influence over the war in Ukraine and some national security things. And so it's really not helpful me adding my voice around housing affordability. I don't have expertise there. We don't have a lot of influence there. And she's sort of just got to put it in a place. Other people are working on that.
I appreciate that the phrasing is abrasive.
Yeah.
But
it's designed to be that, yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But I think if we think about our world as leaders, as a series of energy expenditures, like we can only allocate so much energy to the things we actually care about. Why are we detracting from those things by allocating energy to things that we ought not care about and can influence? Yeah.
That's it. Well, linked to that, I mean, you use this phrase, we even have a sticker that says it, control what you can control and influence the variables. This has been a wild year. Talk to us about when you use this phrase. I guess you use this phrase when you're coaching.
I use it a lot. I borrowed it when I worked for the special ops. When I was working for the Army, I got it from like a young captain who had just come from Ranger Bat, was going through the Q course. He was like, control what you can control and influence the variables. And it came from this life and death scenario, which I think adds some gravity to it. Like, there will be things that are directly in our locus of control, and there will be things that we will have to nudge and prod and influence as much as we can, but we can't directly control them. And like that triage process, I think, is really important as we are carrying increasing mental loads, as we're trying to figure out what's on our island, what's in our heart, etc. I mean, I love the order you put these in because they build upon each other. So yeah, control what you can control. That is stock worth taking. Like, we have to take that stock. And then how can we influence the other things, be it our internal mindset, be it how our family orients to some stuff, or some of the people who are in our kind of locus of control who might have direct control over those things. I think it's a sanity check. What can I impact? What can't I? Let me let go of those things I can't, because again, back to energy, let me focus as much practical time as I can on the things I can actually affect.
Yeah. Love that.
Happiness, expectations, reality. There's an equation here.
This is just my reminder that half of the content we teach in executive development comes from stand-up comedians. So this
we deliver it worse.
But
too.
I think there's something in that. We deliver executive education. So we take sort of Oxford, Harvard-ish content, Stanford-ish content, and deliver it like stand-up comedians. And then we take stand-up comedians material. Oh, this might be the secret sauce. Shh, don't tell anybody. We take stand-up material and deliver it like professors. But this was Jimmy Carr's phrase, is that what people don't understand is that happiness, the equation for happiness, is happiness equals expectations minus reality. So if your reality exceeds your expectations, you're happy. If your expectations exceed your reality, you're in the negative space. And I'm living this at the moment with my dad, my old man, who I love to the moon and back. He's my role model, and I aspire to be him every day. And we are in this world right now where I'm so happy for him, and he's not happy. And it's purely this equation. And I'm sure as people are dealing with family members, they're gonna see this. We had a great conversation about it last night. We just talked about it. It wasn't like, and what we've identified is that I wake up every morning and I lunge for my phone, as I've been programmed to do for the past 5 or so years, to check that my dad was okay looking after my mom as a caregiver in the UK, and what could we remotely support for him. And then I get there and I go, oh, he's not there. He's not in the UK. He's not alone in the UK after my mum passed. He lives next door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy that we were able to get him to America and he's living next door. My dad's experience is he wakes up every morning. He has compartmentalized my mom's disease with Alzheimer's, and he compares his life to 10 years ago with a thriving mom and wakes up unhappy. Neither is right nor wrong, right? He's going through a process of grieving, but it just reminds me of that equation of that there's no absolute measure of everything is relative, but there's definitely no absolute measure of happiness.
Yeah.
And to quote Jimmy Carr again, if you go for the material needs, we're the first generation, because our parents didn't. No, our parents didn't. That has a hot shower every day. Brand's parents probably didn't. Your parents definitely didn't. My parents definitely didn't. Yeah, so the absolute measures don't count for anything, but the relative does. So just like as take some time. Yeah. And so Brandon, you would enjoy this job much more if you just lowered your expectations.
How very British of you.
Okay. I want to play the race card here. The ace race card.
Here we go.
Talk about pace. Ace race pace. Look, it's been a year for DEI. My word, has it been a year for DEI. We've talked about speedometers and paceometers. The idea that if you go from 10 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour, you'll get there twice as fast. But if you add 10 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour, you'll only get there, I think, a 16th as fast, if I'm doing the math correctly.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
So pace, the time it takes to get something. How do you feel the speed of racial equity? Actually, let me expand it. Of social justice, right? Social equity across all kinds of demographics has, I think, distinctly slowed this year in terms of how quickly things are moving. By things, I mean initiatives, opportunities. How's the pace doing? How is that longer arc doing? If you're a woman listening to this, if you're a person of color, if God forbid you aren't a heterosexual cis male, like, how's the pace going on that journey?
I don't know that I've sat down to think through this.
What words would describe that sort of half lip quiver, half snarl that you just did?
I would say net pace is probably at zero right
It's
now.
just stalled.
I mean, there was forward momentum. Not always in the direction I agreed with during the kind of DEI movement. I think there were a lot of people doing a lot of things, and we've talked about this a lot. The side of progressivism has a really wide scope, which means we won't always agree, but we will be moving forward. So, was it directionally accurate? Yes. Were we?
One of the reasons I'm asking your view, I
Yeah.
haven't asked, I don't think I've asked anybody, it's actually you were one of the biggest critics of the DEI movement when it was at its peak and it was in vogue.
I think we were doing not quite Sound and Fury. You remember that line? It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. I don't think we were quite there. I think there was this cacophony of stuff, and a lot of it was noise versus signal. And now we've got an administration that is the antithesis of that progress. And that is, can we go back to a time where this progress didn't exist? Like the actual real progress. I think this administration is counter to the actual things that the DEI movement professed to accomplish. And so, I would say the pace has stalled. I think we're at a standstill. There's some things moving forward, but there's enough moving backwards. It's like we're in a current, we're still swimming, but we're not making any progress is how it feels right now. So that's, having spent all of 3-4 minutes thinking about it right now, that's how I feel.
I find really frustrating about you, right? So given the penchant of gifted, intelligent, attractive women to find you attractive, which continually baffles me.
Yeah, it's infuriating, isn't it?
And I give you a layup question to talk about the state of social justice. Not only do you take that question and you land the answer, you quote Shakespeare's Macbeth midway through it, you bastard.
Given that this is a show, are we allowed to say that particular Scottish play out loud? I don't think you're allowed to say that.
That's a great point. I'm now cursed. Just add it to the queue.
And Brandon listened to it.
Anyway,
so
for those who are listening, this is a test. If you would like, I think this seems appropriate for 2026, and we'll actually complement our corporate gift that we're going into January, which we won't tell you about. But if you would like a mug with the quote from Macbeth, spoken by Macbeth, told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, then Jackie of Haymaker is on that right now, and we will send you a mug. Just mail us your mailing address, and it's on its way. All right. Last one.
Work on something bigger than you.
Yeah. So this is Dan Dennett, and the
philosopher.
The philosopher.
Yeah.
And his phrase, I'm going to butcher it a little bit, is the key to happiness is to work on something bigger than yourself. And that's something.
Find something bigger than you and dedicate your life to it.
Dedicate your life to it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. How's your ratings going with literate women?
And
literate men. So, yeah. And I just think that's in a way, it's a cheat sheet of just don't make it about you. So for all of that anxiety that is out there and people are feeling the pressure, just, think about, it goes back to your head, heart, hands.
Yeah.
Think about the heart. What is it that it can be not about you? And this pains me even more to say this. Your bench is gone, hasn't it? You've put it in place.
Yeah. I had the neighbor come pick it up. They were really cool about it.
Okay. So I think this is a good example. And I'm the first to criticize you. I'm the first to find a window to laugh at you. You've worked like crazy this year, and in the sidelines, over the past couple of weeks, I've seen you working on this wooden bench. And I said to you, "Is that for the gym area of Clubhouse?" And you said no. You didn't say anything more than that. You said no. And I said, slightly irritated, "So well, what's it for then?" Thinking he's going to put it somewhere I disagree with where I'm putting it for. And you said, "There's a bus stop, and it doesn't have a seat, and I'm building a seat for the bus stop." Is there now a seat at the bus stop?
Kudos to community. There's not yet, but there will be. The neighbors are painting it. So we've got a bus stop. There are a bunch of bus stops like along the route to our office that don't have benches, and the city hasn't sorted. Yeah. It's a whole thing. But one of our neighbors has this blue wooden bench out front that they've painted and put flowers on, and it's really cute. So I asked him about it. And they're like, yeah, we just realized that we've got a couple families in our neighborhood who don't have transportation, take the bus. They have kids who get the school bus, etc., and they don't have a place to sit. So we put a bench out. If you ever come across a bench, let us know, and we can put it out at the other bus stop. So I was at a yard sale getting stuff for the clubhouse, and I saw a bench. And I asked the woman of the yard sale, I was like, "Hey, can I buy that bench? There's this family that could use it." And she's like, "Take it. You can have it."
Oh.
And so she gave me the bench. I bought a couple pieces of wood from Lowe's. I fixed up the bench. And then the neighbor who told me about it came and picked it up so they could paint it. And then the other neighbor whose property the bench will go on is like, "You can absolutely put it here. I'll get a chain and make sure it doesn't disappear." And so it's just been this kind of chain of people saying, "Hey, let's take care of other people around us." And there was a small part that happened here at the clubhouse, but it was really cool to just be a part of that bigger loop, and people having what they need to fucking sit at the bus stop, man. It's we can do at least that, at very least.
Now, Brandon, when you have a real job and you're doing executive communications, then in your brain and your heart that this is the moment to wrap up this show. It is feel good. It is built up. People are going to listen to this and go, Ace is a great guy, but Scott was there listening to him. And this is the Christmas stories that's coming out. But no, Brandon, we are not going to do that. What we're going to do is we've allowed Ace to build up all of this brand equity as a good human being, but we're going to finish the year on the travel section and just see how much of this he can piss away with angry arrogance. Cross-check and all call. Off you go, Ace Colwood. I've seen the list. Don't hold back.
You wrote to check or not to check. I just want you to know that you wrote one of the three things on the list, but I'll take mine. There is a special
I'll answer
place.
that. Everybody else, check your bags. Done.
Everybody check your bags except for us. Yeah. There is a special place in the deepest, worstest, most miserablest layer of hell for designers who put carpeting in airports. Look, I did my flighty roundup for the year. Flighty roundup.
Oh, God, we're still promoting this app. You definitely have stock in this company.
I don't.
You're
I
an early
should.
investor.
I should.
Yeah. All right. You're
flighty if
roundup.
you're listening.
Yeah.
90 flights, which is like that's a healthy number for us. 70,000 miles, 8 days, 17 hours of flight time, 33 airports, 6 airlines. All to say, I have spent my fucking share of time in airports dragging my carry-on behind me because it won't roll because somebody put carpet down in the airport. And I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Maybe it was somebody who checks their bag instead of me. And then my other thing is, when did we decide that showers don't need doors anymore?
What?
I've stayed in a number of hotels over the course of this year where there's like the glass pane, but then there's another section of the opening of the shower that just doesn't have anything. And it gets cold. It gets cold in the shower.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Why don't you close the bathroom door?
You do close the bathroom door, but the bathroom's big. It just
why is your bathroom big?
Because I'm a big guy, man.
Hotels don't offer big rooms on the basis of how large you are.
Oh, they ought to. This fits in this section. They should offer ace-sized rooms with ace-sized things.
So in your gargantuan marble bathroom, you don't like that it doesn't have shower doors?
No, the air bounces off of the gold-plated toilet, and it gets colder that way. And then I get cold, and I don't like it. It's a thing. It's happening more often, and I don't know what modern design conspiracy conspired to remove doors from. Just give me a sliding door. Give me a fucking curtain, something to keep the steam and nice warm in. All right, I'm done.
And here endeth the lesson of destruction of brand and reputational equity.
I think we're at net.
So if you're traveling these holidays, we wish you safe travels. And just a reminder for anybody traveling through Richmond International Airport, the best way to survive it is to act like every other passenger in the terminal. Act like you've never seen a fucking plane before. I'm Scott Wayne.
And I'm Ace Colwood.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays? Holidays, not Christmas.
Crimbo.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Shut it off, Brandon.